Hi, my name is Lyric Pipes, and this is me presenting my cultural health philosophy presentation. I will be talking about health, culture, how culture influences health behaviors, and how understanding culture best benefits people working in the public health field, and how um, culture can influence health behaviors both positively and negatively. So, first, we will be defining health and culture. These are my own definitions that I feel like best suits how I look at health and culture. So, first is health. Health is lifestyle and wellness choices someone makes that best benefits their health and overall happiness. I feel like this best defines health because everyone makes their own choice regarding what they do regarding their health, whether that's getting vaccinated, whether that's not vaccinating, whether that's eating vegetables, whether that's drinking water. Everyone has to make their choice on their own, and whatever makes them happy is usually what people do regarding their health. Next is culture. Culture is a common group of ideas, morals, and values that a particular group of people share. Culture is a way of life that shapes how people in the common group interact and speak to each other. I feel like personally this is a good definition for culture because culture like affects how people talk, it affects how people walk, it affects how people in that same culture interact with each other and also interact with people outside of that culture. Me in African American culture, I wouldn't talk to someone who is a fellow African American the same way I talk to someone who's not an African American. So I feel like that's the best definition for culture personally. So next is the personal reflection on if I feel like I have a culture, and if so, what are some main pillars in that culture. So personally, I feel like I do have a culture, and my culture is African American culture. There are a few pillars that define African American culture, and I chose the most major ones that I can speak about personally. So one is food. African American people have very distinct food called soul food. This is like fried food, greens, smothered foods. It's very heavy food and heavily seasoned. Some of these foods are cabbage, smothered pork chops in general, fried chicken, greens, pound cake, sweet potatoes, things like that, that a lot of people don't eat on a regular basis, but African American people do eat. Next is music. African American people are the face of many music genres: hip hop, rap, jazz, blues. Black people were also a very huge part of jazz coming into New York City, referencing the Harlem Renaissance during the Great Migration. And then next is religion. African American people hold faith very closely. I know this personally. My grandfather was a pastor, is now a minister. My grandmother is also heavily involved with the church. I grew up as a Christian. A lot of African American people I know personally also grew up as a Christian. Faith is very relevant um, in our culture. And then next is family. We are African American people are very, very family based and community based. You can't really do a lot in African American culture without someone in your family knowing. Um, it's just that's just life. That's just life for African American people. You hold family very close because if you don't have anyone in this world, we're taught that you're going to have family. So family is very big. So next, I'll be talking about how culture influences health behaviors, the influence of culture on health behaviors. I have some negative ones. I have some positive ones. So first, I'm going to start with the negative ones. So first, I'm going to start with historical and medical mistrust. According to Gamble 1997 in the American Journal of Public Health, events such as the Tuskegee syphilis study created long-lasting distrust towards the healthcare system through African Americans. So the Tuskegee experiment was black people who had syphilis were saying they were getting treated for bad blood, but they actually weren't being treated at all. They were just monitoring their syphilis um, until and watched how it progressed. Even though they had a cure, which is I believe penicillin. They weren't treating them; they were just watching it go on and on. And this was happening in secret until a whistleblower came out and said, "Hey, this is wrong. Experimenting on African American men is wrong." Next is stigma around mental health. Um, Me personally, growing up as an African American, mental health is not really recognized. Like, if I go back into faith, mental health is recognized as a sin almost. So a lot of Black African American people do not go and reach out for help regarding their mental health, and so that's a huge influence on health behaviors. Next is cultural food disadvantages. Again, with the food that we eat is very heavy. It's very heavily seasoned. It's high in salt, high in sugar, and this can lead to things like high blood pressure, um, heart problems, gut problems, things of that such. Next is negative past experiences. I'm so sorry for the typo. Negative past experiences. Um, when African American people have bad experiences in public, like regarding racism or in the healthcare clinic, we're not gonna go back. Um, I can't remember the last time I've experienced something like that, but it's very common, and a lot of people will not interact with the healthcare system because of something like that. Um, but now on to some positives, which is a strong community network. Research by Bua Ford and Iwala Newmore in 2014 emphasizes that African American communities often have strong family networks, faith based institutions, and collective resilience that can be leveraged to promote health. Because we have such strong community networks and such strong family connections, faith connections, when someone that you trust is telling you, hey, this is what you should be doing regarding your health, like, we tend to listen, especially in faith-based networks. If the pastor or the minister is having a sermon regarding health, best believe everyone in the church is going to go home and follow what the pastor says, because we have such trust in our faith leaders. Next is culturally tailored health messages, because I've kind of touched based on the last three. Culturally tailored health messages. um Bua and colleagues highlight that culturally tailored interventions are more effective because they respect lived experience and community values. When health messages can relate to the community that they're towards, it's more likely that we're going to listen to the message, and we're going to take the message wholeheartedly and understand what actions we need to take in order to be fully healthy and happy. This demonstrates that while culture can create barriers, it can also be something nice and good that can benefit the community as a whole. So while we do have those barriers on health behaviors, um, we can overcome that and we can be stronger together. So why is culture important in public health? So culture is important in public health because one, it improves trust, communication, and engagement. When you understand what your target audience or what your patient may be going through in their culture, you can successfully and respectfully communicate with them and make them know, hey, I hear you, I understand what you're going through, and being able to tailor your services to the audience that you're servicing is it's incredible. And then next, reduces health disparities. When you understand what a particular culture is going through, how they may be affected because of the healthcare system or systematic racism, you can take actions that can help reduce those health disparities. Such as, I grew up in a low income area. There aren't many health clinics in the area. There aren't many grocery stores in the area. But when public health officials understand those things, like, hey, this area has little to no grocery stores, we're living in a food desert, then they can take the action to build more, um, build more grocery stores or build more soup kitchens in the area so that those health disparities will be reduced. Next, ensures health programs are culturally appropriate. Again, being able to relate to the population that you're servicing, it's incredible. It helps people feel heard, it helps people feel seen, and it lets them know, like, hey, I am getting help. It's not just um one size fits all. I am getting the services that relate to me and my culture. And then next, helps health administrators create inclusive policy and services. Again, um, when you create services that, when you understand the culture of someone and you understand the health disparities that they're going through, and the um systematic problems that they're going through. Health administrators can create inclusive policies and services that can reach out to those same communities and let them know, hey, I hear you, I see you, here is how we're going to help you, your culture, your community. So that is why culture is very important in public health. These are the resources I used, and thank you so much for listening to my presentation, and I had a great semester with you.